Forget what they taught you in civics class. International relations isn't a friendly debate club. It's a brutal, high-stakes game of economic warfare. And in this arena, the deadliest weapon isn't a missile, it's a sanction. As we stand on the precipice of 2026, the global chessboard is drenched in red ink, tangled in a web of restrictions, tariffs, and embargoes. But while nations publicly posture about justice and international law, a darker, more cynical question echoes in the backrooms of power. Who is actually getting rich from all this chaos? Who are the real puppet masters pulling the strings, profiting from the very instability they helped create? The answer isn't a single nation or a shadowy cabal. It's a complex ecosystem of opportunists, a new aristocracy of crisis, feasting on the carcass of the old global order. We're told sanctions are a surgical tool, a precise strike against rogue states and bad actors. This is a calculated lie. In reality, they are a sledgehammer, smashing entire economies, disrupting supply chains, and creating vacuums of power and profit that are instantly filled by those nimble enough or ruthless enough to exploit the fallout. In 2026, the geopolitical landscape is a minefield of sanctions targeting everything from energy exports and financial transactions to technological components and rare earth minerals. And every single restriction, every severed trade tie becomes a golden opportunity for someone else. This isn't just collateral damage. It's a deliberate and highly profitable redesign of global commerce, where the architects of the new system are also its primary beneficiaries. We are witnessing a monumental transfer of wealth, disguised as foreign policy. Let's start with the most obvious winners: the neutral opportunists and the sanction-busting states. As the West tightens its economic chokehold on major resource exporters, a new Silk Road of illicit trade and gray market economies has erupted. Nations that publicly preach neutrality while privately facilitating back-channel deals are making a killing. They become the indispensable middlemen. The geopolitical launderers who wash sanctioned goods and funnel them back into the global market at a premium. Think of it as global arbitrage on a scale never seen before. A tanker of sanctioned oil, bought at a 30% discount, is reflagged, its transponder turned off, and its cargo mixed with clean oil at a discreet offshore hub. It re-enters the legitimate market, netting the intermediary billions in pure, untraceable profit. These states aren't just breaking the rules. They are rewriting the playbook, building entire economic models based on defying the established powers and monetizing their defiance. Their ports are booming, their financial institutions are swelling with foreign cash, and their political influence is growing with every clandestine deal they broker. Then you have the domestic industrial behemoths within the sanctioning countries themselves. This is the dirty little secret that no politician wants to admit. When a government bans the importation of foreign steel, who benefits? The nation's own, often less efficient and more expensive steel industry? When access to a foreign nation's vast lithium reserves is cut off, who gets massive government subsidies and guaranteed contracts to develop domestic mines? The politically connected mining corporations at home, sanctions, under the guise of national security, function as the most extreme form of protectionism. They create captive markets, shielding legacy industries from superior foreign competition. In 2026, we see this playing out in real time. The push for reshoring and supply chain security isn't just a policy. It's a corporate welfare program of staggering proportions. Energy companies, defense contractors, and agricultural giants in the sanctioning nations are reaping windfall profits, not because they are more innovative, but because their governments have systematically eliminated their rivals from the board. They wave the flag with one hand while stuffing government contracts into their pockets with the other. But the real, almost invisible power lies with the financial titans, the investment banks, the hedge funds, and the currency speculators who thrive on volatility. For them, geopolitical instability isn't a crisis. It's the perfect market condition. Every new sanction, every threat of escalation, sends shockwaves through the global markets, and these predators are positioned to ride those waves. They short the currencies of sanctioned nations, betting on their collapse. They use sophisticated algorithms to trade commodities futures, profiting from the wild price swings in oil, gas, and grain caused by supply disruptions. They create complex financial instruments, derivatives that allow them to gamble on the very chaos that sanctions create. While ordinary citizens face soaring energy bills and inflation, A select few in the financial districts of New York, London, and Hong Kong are making fortunes. They don't produce anything tangible. They don't build or innovate. They simply monetize fear and uncertainty, turning national crises into personal jackpots. They are the ultimate parasites of the system, feeding on the instability that economic warfare guarantees. We must also look at the rise of the specialized sanctions advisory industry. A decade ago, this was a niche field. Today, it's a multi-billion-dollar behemoth. Law firms, consulting groups, and risk management companies now employ armies of experts whose sole job is to navigate the labyrinthine hellscape of global sanctions. They charge corporations exorbitant fees to ensure they remain compliant, helping them structure deals that skirt the edges of legality. At the same time, they advise governments on how to craft more effective, meaning more devastating sanctions. They are playing both sides of the conflict, selling the poison and the antidote from the same briefcase. These are the modern-day mercenaries, armed not with guns, but with legal jargon and intricate financial models. Their profit is directly proportional to the complexity and severity of the sanctions regime. A simpler, more peaceful world is their worst nightmare. A world entangled in a perpetual state of economic Cold War is their business model. Finally, the most insidious profiteers are the political elites and their cronies in sanctioned countries. While the West believes it is punishing rogue regimes, it often achieves the exact opposite. Sanctions provide authoritarian leaders with the perfect scapegoat for their own economic mismanagement. They can blame every shortage, every price hike, and every unemployed citizen on the evil foreign powers. This rally round the flag effect consolidates their power and silences internal dissent. More cynically, it allows them to seize control of the economy, as foreign companies are forced to divest and sell their assets for pennies on the dollar. It is the regime's inner circle, the oligarchs, the generals, and the party loyalists, who swoop in to buy them up. Sanctions, therefore, don't just fail to dislodge these leaders. They help them consolidate their wealth and power, transforming state assets into their personal fiefdoms. They gain absolute control over the black markets that inevitably emerge, controlling the flow of everything from medicine to machinery, enriching themselves while their people suffer. So, as we dissect the geopolitical chessboard of 2026, the picture becomes terrifyingly clear. Global sanctions are not a tool for peace or justice. They are a weapon of economic conquest and a mechanism for a massive state-sponsored transfer of wealth. They create a parasitic ecosystem where opportunist nations, protected domestic industries, financial speculators, and the very autocrats they claim to target all thrive on the manufactured chaos. It's a grand, cynical game where the rules are written by the powerful for the powerful. The biggest lie we've been sold is that economic warfare is a bloodless alternative to real war. The truth is, its casualties are just as real. They are the families who can't afford to heat their homes, the workers whose factories have been shuttered, and the citizens of sanctioned nations pushed deeper into poverty and oppression. The profits are being privatized, while the pain is socialized on a global scale. The next time a politician stands at a podium and speaks of imposing, crippling sanctions for the greater good, remember the real question isn't who they are trying to hurt, but who in the shadows stands to get filthy rich.